Awesome, man. We are on live with voice actor and comedian Jason Canning.
Hey guys, welcome live from Pinewood Studios.
Ah, that's you. Is that your studio?
Yeah, I got my
Wow.
studio here, and I've already alarmed the security guys because not many people are working at 1 in the morning.
Dude, thank you so much for calling us. I know you're back in
Pleasure,
England.
pleasure.
Dude, that's awesome. What brought you back there? Was it work?
Yes, I obviously the animation stuff I do, which is super fun, and then I also do quite a lot of commercial stuff, and I'm doing a contract with one of the big cell phone companies here, so I had to come back to the UK to do some promos and commercials and stuff for those guys.
Cool.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
is that a lot, like physically, to go back and forth?
Yeah, it is. It always sounds way better when somebody else tells you, "Oh, yeah, I'm flying back to the UK or I'm flying to LA backwards and forwards." But when you actually do it, it is quite grueling.
I can
But
imagine the flights too. Like just a flight for a couple hours is rough. Like just the
yeah,
people, like like if they fucking like touch you, you're like, get away from me, get away from me, you
this is
savage.
this is how I break it down. It's 5 movies.
Oh
Whoa,
wow, that's the
That's
time
it.
length.
that's crazy.
That's it. 5 movies, and which I do every time virtually. 5 movies, and you're on the other side of the world.
Oh wow, dude, that's crazy. Where do you
My
prefer to
favorite
be?
thing.
Where do you prefer to be? England or LA?
Weather-wise and work-wise, LA, and everything else, England.
Nice, dude. Nice.
But they are, I'll tell you what, they're lovely, lovely people. I mean, I've become an American citizen last year, so
Awesome.
I just love America, and you know what's really strange? All Americans think British people are so polite, and yet it's totally the other way. I always think you guys are incredibly polite, and your customer service is insane. So when I come back to England, I sound like every American I've ever met in England, going, "Oh my God, the service and the portions are so small."
Man, that's crazy being in both of those places. How often do you go back and forth? Do you live like half a year here and half a year there?
Um, yeah, that's probably about right. Sometimes it's a 3 month trip back to LA or a 6 month trip. But that's only been happening sort of the last 3 or 4 years. Before that, I was solidly in LA from like 2004, 2005.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Now, do
Uh,
you do stand up still too? Like, cause
Yeah, occasionally. Stand up is awesome. I love it. It bleeds into my voiceover work, especially when I sort of land jobs, that require improv and comedy timing, if you like. But I don't do so much of it now because it takes you out of town. Like I got to headlining level, and at that point you are traveling a lot.
yeah.
It takes you out of town, and your agents don't particularly like that because you're not there for work.
Wow,
You know,
dude.
so
That's
it's a tricky one to juggle. But I do still occasionally do stand up. It's just I think I will always do stand up.
Is that what you did first?
Yeah, well, actually, I first started off as a host on Disney Channel here in the UK.
Wow.
Yeah, that was doing preschool for Playhouse Disney, and I was the storyteller, and we had an imaginary garden with a giant beanstalk, and I sat outside as you do, telling stories.
I feel like I'm there. That was the best description. Your voice. Oh my God, that sounds awesome.
I know. It's sounds like some sort of pot trip.
Yes.
You just see like hobbits like coming out of the bushes.
Right. I was like, what is this beanstalk in the garden? Like, and it had a slide on it. Seriously, it had a slide running down this giant beanstalk, and I used to have these group of kids who I'd tell the stories to, and they were only sort of like 5 or 6, and of course, all they wanted to do was go on the beanstalk slide.
That's
So
like the circle at a Target.
attention.
The circle at a Target, the big circle, like kids just want to go on that thing. Like,
That's it. They tripped out. Just like, okay, get on with your story because that slide is seriously awesome.
I feel like you were in between like sets, just like fuck these kids, smoking a cigarette, like these kids.
Oh, yeah. If it wasn't on Playhouse Disney, I think.
my kids drive me crazy. I can't imagine dealing with a flock of others.
Well, it's really true what they say about working with kids. It's like, you know, the guy at the circus who does the plate spinning act,
Yes.
and you get one going, and then you have to go back to the other one because that's about to fall off, and occasionally you lose one.
Yeah.
That's what working with kids is like.
My little sister
Wrangled and settled, and you go, quick, we're losing one, quick. You can go on the slide if you just stand still for a few seconds.
My younger sister works at a daycare, and like this like 3-year-old kid came up to her and said, "You look like you need a baby in your belly."
Ah!
Like, randomly. I don't know.
Has any kid ever said that to you, Jason?
No. Oh my God!
That's a showstopper. That's you can't top that.
No, I'd be like, okay, let's paint some rainbows.
Jason, I loved your stand-up. I was watching. I love your bit about your mom squishing the soap together. My mom does that too. I fucking love that.
She was, well, she still is a very frugal mother, and I must admit, I you know, when it comes to bars of soap, man, I use every bit.
Yeah, I do too. I start molding it, the little one, into the big one myself. Like, I guess we were trained to do that.
Is it just me, or have bars of soap become just so much weaker than they used to be? Like, I hate it when you get a bar of soap down to that level and then it breaks into 2.
It's because they don't use the whale fat anymore.
Oh, is that
That's
it?
probably what it is. Yeah, 'cause I remember that you couldn't break one of those with your teeth. But now they just crumble, and that's when you have to start mold. Well, the minute you start molding the soap together, it loses all the joy of bathing in soap.
Oh, dude, that was so funny. I love that. I was going to ask you, too, we know you've been in a lot of different voice acting roles. You've been in Lego Star Wars. You've been in Ninja Turtles. What is your favorite role so far?
Well, I mean, for me, I guess it would have to be the Star Wars one, just because I'm such a huge Star Wars fan.
I was going to ask.
And have been, and so it's kind of like, you know, when they said, would you like a role in Lego Star? They didn't even finish the star. I just went, yeah.
That's got to be such an honor, man. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is. You know, those roles. I mean, I was playing opposite like Julian Glover, who's a huge, like, massive British actor. He's in the realms of Alec Guinness. Julian Glover, like, he's, you know, those roles.
Sir Alec Guinness.
You know, yeah, for where I am in my career, those roles for those kind of animations don't come up very often because, you know, even the most established actors want to be in those just for the cool factor with their kids and nephews and that sort of stuff.
That seems like the top right there.
It doesn't get much better. And what's so funny now is my studio is right opposite Lucasfilm headquarters at Pinewood Studios.
Wow.
So
Maybe there'll be a Lego Robin Slim game soon.
Let's get one of those in action.
You gotta be a boss fight.
Yeah, that'll be a fight scene.
Yes.
That's great. Wow. What did you do before the voice acting and the comedy, Jason? Did you have another profession?
Yeah, well, I've been in entertainment now since '98, and most of it back in '98. As I say, I started with Disney Channel and was with them for 6 years, and then I got into voiceover because there was a new channel launching here. I don't know if you guys know ITV Studios. They're a very big commercial station here in England, probably the biggest.
No, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, they asked. I got a role there. They wanted me as one of their presenters, one of their hosts, like a MTV style thing. And the budgets ran out very quickly for on-camera stuff. And I just naturally just slipped into the voiceover. They said, well, we're going over to voiceover. So if you want to do that, you can do that. So I found myself then doing voiceover on national television. And we do it slightly different here. We have live announcers for the television shows. So
like a sitcom would have that.
Yeah. It's kind of like for the five big networks here. They have live announcers that, say you're watching ITV in half an hour. It's Britain's Got Talent. Right now, though, it's Coronation Street. That sort of thing. And so we guide you through the whole schedule live to the nation, live to, 50-odd million Brits, nice. Which was quite daunting when you think about it. If you don't think about it, it's just a foot pedal that makes your mic live and off you go. But when you actually think about, making any mistakes, you are live. And yeah, it's sort of like, I better not think about that. Let me just do this.
That's like when we started live, I was like, I don't know if we're going to be able to do this. Like, yeah. And we didn't do it as long as we do now. We weren't as good, but it just develops. It just gets better.
It's good though live, right? I mean,
wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't want to do it any other way. Yeah. Exactly.
No. Once you've done most people, live television, live anything scares a lot of people.
Yes.
But when you do it, there's nothing that can beat live television. Because
it's just that leap. Exactly. It's just taking that leap and then you're there. You wouldn't want to do it pre-recorded.
The only thing with my first introduction to live was I had 10-second snippets. So if I didn't deliver my dialogue within 9 seconds, I'm off.
So that must have been nerve-wracking.
That's a bit nerve-wracking, yes.
Yeah, it caught me out a couple of times in the beginning, I will be honest. It was like, but I tell you what, you only do it a couple of times and then you're like, I'm never doing that again. So, yeah, I was introduced. What were the shows? We had Judge Judy. We had Baywatch. Oh my! We had a lot of American content. And it was good. And then I sort of stayed with voiceover for quite a while until I got to LA, and then that's when the real fun started, getting into animation.
Wow! Who's the biggest name you've worked with, comedically or acting wise?
Oh gosh, I would say I've side by side, as in him standing right next to me. I worked with Alfred Molina on Life and Times of Tim on HBO. Alfred Molina, for those who don't know of his name, but know of his work. Yep, Doc Ock, Spider-Man.
He's also the guy that gets that tries to steal the idol from Indiana Jones.
That's it. Nice one. Yes. So it was so funny because I had no idea I was going to be working with him, and I got there, and another famous guy whose name escapes me said, "Oh, you're working with Fred today. He's fantastic." Now, I don't know who Fred was, or that he went by Fred. So I just go into the studio, big Indiana Jones fan, and I nearly like shit a brick when I saw Alfred Molina. No, who's Fred? Like,
wow.
He was about it, and he was so nice, so nice. But I, namesake wise, I worked on the same show as Mark Hamill and Henry Winkler.
Henry Winkler.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that was on Hero Factory.
Okay.
What about any
Henry
other-
Winkler's a guy I can listen to talk for like days. Like he's just so he pulls you into the story. He's
What
just
about
so endearing.
What about
Yes.
any of the guys from Monty Python? Did you ever get to work with any of those guys?
No, but I did get to perform in a pub that Eric Idle frequents quite a lot. But what was it? It was the Fox and Hound in Studio City. And I did stand-up comedy there quite a few times, but never ran into him.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to. I know John Cleese's daughter is now doing stand-up. How about that? Yeah, but I have not run into any of the Pythons. That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be
I
awesome.
love that show.
Yeah.
It's so
gotta-
funny.
I mean that's it's timeless, and it was so way ahead of its time too. When it came out.
The Ministry of Silly Walks.
And here's an interesting thing. They said, when you refer to Python, they always think, oh yeah, it's a lot of East Coast, West Coast fans. But when they first tested that in America in the 60s, early 70s, that played in Texas first.
Wow.
And was a hit.
Wow.
They played it out in Texas first. So it just shows you how broad that comedy was as well, and how deep it was. It's just funny.
Yeah. I think my favorite Monty Python was The Life of Brian. The guy that was born right next to Jesus, but everybody thought he was Jesus.
The part with the aliens.
The aliens.
When he has to run through the market, and he has to, when he's doing the haggle scene. How much is this? It's 50 dinars. Great. No, you can't just take it. You got to haggle. What? Well, you got to offer me something really low and insulting, and I go no, and then you come back with another offer. But I just want it.
You gonna ask something, Slim?
Yeah, I was curious. When you do characters that are already established, like you did the voice of Kraang, right? He did Kraang.
He did the Kraang.
Yes.
Yes. How does like Nickelodeon, do they send you like, hey, watch these clips of like other versions of Kraang and try to do that, or do you have to do your own research? Like, how do you go about deciding on the voice to use for that character?
Yeah, it was a different one. They had just an idea that they wanted it a British voice, and they wanted it to be a bit robotic. And I think sometimes when you go in for these auditions, I think you just have to show your range, and I think that you have to show willing to just play with it. And you go in and you do one voice, and they go, okay, yeah, that's great. What about if you did this? And then you get to play. And that voice sort of almost ended up sounding quite like a Dalek. We are the Kraang, utilize the mesmeron.
That's awesome.
That's great.
And in my head, I'm thinking, gosh, that sounds like a Dalek.
It just
We will exterminate. And then we playing around with the cadence of it, and just we just messed up the cadence completely. So it just sounded like and upside down, and we came we came to a character voice that they like. So yeah, it's really just about going in there. They have an idea and a rough sort of description of what they want, and then I think you're there to play and to show them range and give them ideas too, and then the voice evolves. So yeah, it was kind of nice that I didn't have to copy anyone, and that they sound very different, Kraang, because I've heard quite a few Kraang voices, and
the original one, he kind of sounded like he had like murder face from.
Right.
Like Lewis Black.
Yeah, he really sounded like that. Yes, that's right.
He did kind of sound.
They actually, in the new Nickelodeon show, Lewis Black plays a character called Spider Bites. He's a big fat spider.
He kind of sounded like Lewis Black with like dog shit in his mouth.
That's not a compliment.
If you were crammed in somebody's belly region, I think you'd be pretty pissed off too.
Oh, that's fantastic, Jason. Jason, we have to wrap this up in a few minutes. Where can everybody find you?
No problem, guys. What's that? Sorry.
Where can everybody find you?
JasonCanning.com. That's where everything is. Small talk and animation reels and stand up and videos.
It's
and
a great site,
Twitter.
man.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Twitter is Jason A. Canning at Jason A. Canning.
Yes.
What does the A stand for?
So it's Jason A for Anthony.
Anthony.
My father still thinks I should have gone by Anthony Canning. But hey, here I am, Jason Canning.
Awesome, dude. Thank you so much for talking to us, man.
Oh, pleasure, guys. Pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show.
Anytime.
Awesome.
All right, man. When the show goes up, I will send you all the links and everything to that.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys, and have a great rest of your evening.
You too.
Have a good one, man.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers, dude. That was awesome.
And he's doing that. It's 1 o'clock in the morning where he is, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's why when I
was really
confirmed
cool.
with him, he said, yeah, it's going to be 1 a.m. And I'm like, dude, because when I originally set up the interview, he's like, we could do it when I'm in L.A. So I'm like, dude, I thought you were still here. He's like, I got called back early. But I was like, dude, you're still going to do that? That's awesome. Like,
Yeah,
so
that's
he
cool.
said, yeah, I'll be calling from my studio. I'm like, wow.
That's cool. He actually went into his studio and like nobody's there. Like, that's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah. That was
He's
an honor
fucking
talking.
awesome. Yeah, man, he's huge. What is it? On Twitter alone, where's the stupid Internet Explorer, whatever it is. Shit, I don't want to misquote it. Let's see. Jason
Oh, I think I actually have it up.
Canning.
Oh, maybe not.
I just figured, yeah, here he is. I was going to say 15,000. It might be more. 35,000 followers.
Wow.
Wow.
Dude, look at all those characters up top. Those are characters he's played. Kraang, yeah, the Admiral in Lego Star Wars. He also did a Lego Hero Factory, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like I said. He's done a ton. The Small Talk.
Small talk.
I forgot to ask him, too. He does a show called The Senses, where he...
Oh, I saw that, too. Yeah, that was funny, man.
It's funny. That's the character he plays.
He plays like the mouth.
Like,
yeah,
one of them's the ears, one of them's like the
like
tongue.
is that like a gargoyle thing too? The very first one.
Oh, I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
That is a really cool looking character. Like, he's got a lot of
That's
stuff.
awesome.
And he retweeted us and talked to us. So I got my own radio show. What are you gonna do? Who are you talking about there? Nobody. You're gonna listen to me. You're gonna listen to me and Slim and Pete and Christian. And we'll be back in 5 minutes.
You know who you are out there.
Yes.